from. You probably may or may not be aware of two things going on. Sorry, my voice is a bit funny. The first one is the video I was set to release today. I actually released yesterday. Because the video I had set to release yesterday, I wasn't overly happy with it, and as well as that, some stuff happened yesterday relating to that particular subject. So I want time to sort of digest that, go through it, go through the information that I've received off a few people, and search out some other information from other sources about a particular topic. So that will probably be videos for next weekend, probably both days. But today's video I actually released yesterday, and so that means I currently don't have a video for today. My mum and husband are downstairs watching NCIs as I record this, so I've got enough time to record this and upload it and everything. The editing shouldn't take that long. I already have the thumbnail done, because it was one that I was planning on doing for this weekend, and then I changed my mind and did the other one instead, but I didn't plan it properly, so I started to stumble over my words a little bit. So I'm going to do this video now. I have tried to see if I can find statistics, but because it is such a new occurrence, it's only really happened in the last couple of years, there isn't really many out there, which is a bit of a shock. But there are literally cases coming out like every other week, if not every other day, about this particular topic. And I am going to relate it to one very famous case here on YouTube, which is, the topic is, it's kind of like a two-part topic. If you watch a live stream of somebody ending either theirs or somebody else's life, or partaking in criminal activity of any sort, are you responsible? Also, what should be done in the instances where you are watching somebody and you are fearful that they could hurt somebody else or themselves? And we are going to relate this to the tragic case of Katelyn Nicole Davis. I have seen a few videos on this. I've seen a lot of Celeste's. I unfortunately didn't see the interviews that she did on the, I think it was the stepfather. I can't remember, it might have been the father. But I do know there have been issues surrounding the case itself, and there are a lot of people that have a lot of questions that aren't being answered, and it should be. I will use Katelyn's case as a example. There are other examples where people are shot while they're doing live streams and shooting drive-bys. There's also ones where they're shot by police. There are numerous videos of that particular type on, there are some here on YouTube, though they don't last, they don't stay up for very long. There are other websites, obviously. Now, while this I think is a new concept for the regular media, for the deep web, I don't think it is that much of a new concept, although a lot of the things surrounding the deep web are the deaths on the deep web actually fake or real. But that's a different question for a different day. That's probably something I would need to collab with somebody who knows about the deep web to do. I have often thought about negotiating into the deep web, but then I always say to myself, no, that's a whole can of worms I don't really want to be opening at this point in my life. I've got enough stress with other stuff, thank you very much, including the crap I have to put up with because of my EDS. So. Now, there's this thing where during live streams, if you hear any noises, I apologise. During live streams, people will egg on people, and people will say, "Come on, do it, do it, do it, do it, do it." Now, are they responsible for what happens? Criminally, no. Morally, no, that's a grey area. If I could see somebody was going downhill in probably the worst way possible, and I did nothing and something happened, either they hurt themselves or they hurt somebody else, I would feel like shit. Pardon my French, but I would. I am trying to keep my voice high, but try not to be too loud because, like I said, my mum's just downstairs. She's making tea, bless. But at the end of the day, criminally it's not illegal. But that's because it is a relatively new occurrence. Like I said, I did try and find statistics and couldn't find any, but there was even just, I did a brief search and just the first 4 or 5 were like the last 2 months in this year, of cases of people that were killed or killed themselves. Now, probably people are thinking, yeah, but what's that got to do with Katelyn Nicole Davis? She had a YouTube channel. She only had a few videos up, but she used to do a lot of live streams, and during the live streams she would tell the story of what she was going through and the abuse she suffered from her stepfather, and you know how her family dealt with it, particularly her mother, and how she felt. And she was also being harassed, or I'm not sure whether it was harassed or catfished. I will put it down below. I will also link above, I'll make a playlist of Celeste's videos on this particular topic and leave the playlist above. She's done extensive work on it. I'm just doing a brief summary of the case because I don't want to go into too much, because like I say, Celeste goes into it quite widely, and I think she's awesome for it. But she would say what she suffered through and everything, and she was depressed and she was getting all this harassment and things like that, and it turned out to be her best friend and her boyfriend that were doing it, and then, like I said, all the stuff that was going on with her mum and her stepfather, and the fact that he'd abused her, and there was issues going on with her mum surrounding that. She got depressed, and she got depressed to the point where she hung herself on a live stream. And I've seen the beginning part of the video where she's getting the rope ready, and she's making sure everything's in frame. And I've seen the end where you can actually hear her family's voice who are looking for her. You know, like I said, at the beginning, I saw the beginning of the video where she would make sure everything's in frame, get everything ready, and then I saw the end where the family was looking for her. But I've never actually seen the in the middle, and I don't really want to either. Now, videos on LiveLeak of this particular subject are quite popular, and are searched and uploaded on a daily basis, if not an hourly basis, and it's horrifying. It really is horrifying. A lot of this comes from our obsession with death itself, because we don't know what happens after death. We each have our own spiritual belief on what's going to happen, but we don't actually know physically what's going to happen until it happens. And because of that, a lot of people try and control everything in life, the whens, the wheres, the whats, everything, and as part of that we become obsessed with everything to do with death. I'm not saying that I'm any different than that. As you all know, I love horror movies. I've always loved horror movies since I was a kid. I'll leave that video up above. And then there's also, on top of that, there's the fact that my education also leans towards death, particularly my dissertation. I will link what was the last video I did mention this? I think it was Tuesday's, yeah, it was the Elisa Lam video, which has been since been demonetised. As has the Kendrick Johnson video, it's been up like 2 weeks, but no, they've only just decided to demonetise it. And the same topics in both videos. But then again, so it's a factor that we are all obsessed with death for one of a dozen reasons. Mine is just the fact that even though you physically cease to exist when you die, as in the form that you are, your body then can be host to such wonderful processes that continue the cycle of life in not just in nature itself, and you know, all the parasites and the maggots and everything. It's, to me, that bit is, it's just wonderful that out of something so horrid, something some people might view insects as horrid, but not all insects are horrid, but the fact that nature continues on even after, to me, is astounding, and I find it wonderful. Now, there's also a thing which sort of factors into this, that, and a lot of people, this is going to be a concept a lot of people don't know anything about, and it's a concept known as tacit consent. This is something I learned during criminology course, I think it was in my second year. Tacit consent is a questionable term that can be used in many forms and in many circumstances. Like I say, it's one of those things that can be used in lots of circumstances, but in some, like, it isn't. Where it relates to this is, I'll explain that in a second, but first I have to explain what it is. Tacit consent is basically silent consent, where if you stay silent, you are therefore consenting, type of thing, which to me is bull. But this is a theory among some. It's a thing that does happen, that if you know something's going on but you don't say anything about it, are you then complicit? And the answer is, in some circumstances yes, and in some circumstances no, which is the situation that it is in this case. Now, if I was watching somebody, complete stranger, that was halfway across the world, and I said I did nothing, I wouldn't be complicit, because even if I wanted to, there would be very little for me to do. However, if I knew the person and I did nothing, I would then be complicit, because I could have stopped them. So, now, also, the flip side of this is, how do we police live streams? With the increase of numerous apps that allow you to do live streaming, you have Twitter, you have Facebook, you have Twitch, and that's just 5. There are other forms of live streaming, and as soon as we start monitoring one, restricting certain things on one, they'll just jump onto the next and jump onto the next and jump onto the next. And sometimes it can start off normally, then the person who's supposed to monitor it may leave, and that's when it happens. Also, sometimes it might just be a complete accident where you are doing it, you are recording, or should I say you're streaming, and then a drive-by will happen, or you'll get pulled over and you'll continue with the stream. That can happen, but there are other instances where it's planned. Now, how that can be monitored is down to the people who run those apps. The people who run those apps themselves, and the people who are watching those apps. If they, again, this is down to the companies, and this is something the companies are going to have to look into, because with the increase of regularity that it's happening, to me, means that this is a situation that needs sorting out quick, and I mean really quick, because yes, it has helped with criminal cases, it has helped with prosecutions and things like that. It has helped in that respect, but in other respects it only brings pain to the parents of people, and the family of people who do this while committing suicide. Not the best topic, but there you go. Also, another thing is to think of, what would you do if you felt like somebody that you're watching is likely to do something like that. Well, we have to then go through that as a case-by-case basis. And I know that might sound weird, but on a case-by-case basis, you'd have to then think, right, they're acting a bit weird. Do you then report it to the website? Do you report it to the police? Do you report it to the FBI? What? That is something that does need clarification, because I think because particularly this part of streaming where normal people are streaming now, it's not just professionals, it's not just gamers, it's everybody. We need a way of having, this is probably going to get me a lot of backlash, but we need to have some laws surrounding streaming and what you can do on a stream. Now, Twitch, YouTube are probably too strict as when you're streaming, very strict, as they are with normal, general uploads and the content on the website specifically. Obviously, both are getting stricter because of incidents like these. And then you have the lesser strict websites like Whoknows. There are numerous times, and if I can do it when I'm editing this video, I'll put a screenshot, and I will do. But there are numerous times where when I log on to Whoknows and I see like pictures of kids with like teenage girls with like the tops like this, and you know what I mean. Yeah, so we need the legal systems, particularly in the Western world, need to update laws, particularly when it comes to things like these, because I think the amount of streaming applications and websites is only going to increase, and as that does, each one's going to try and compete with the other, so it's going to allow people to do more, and therefore things like this are more likely to happen. Because as soon as any other streaming app like really starts cracking down, it's going to make things go over onto another website where they can get away with more. It's like on Unite you can play music, anything, and you won't get a copyright strike or anything. But if you do that on Twitch, you could lose your stream, you could lose your channel and not be able to make a new one. The same with YouTube. So it's one of those things that we need laws in place. We need laws and rules in place with each particular app, and we need people who actually, the people that watch the streams need to have some knowledge of the area which they're uploaded. So say for example, if there was 20 people in the UK streaming in the UK, you'd have at least one person in the UK that would flip to each stream to make sure everything is being done in accordance to the rules. And you would make sure you would do it in that area, so that if something was happening, they could then call the police. And then, because you can tell what area people are streaming from by the IP address, that's the word I was looking for. The mentally fragile. Now, that could equate to many people, it could even equate to me. But while I have mental illness, and it can be bad, it is nowhere to the level of some of the people that have done similar things to Katelyn. Now, with Katelyn, it was a complicated issue because there was a lot of pressure in the home life. There was the stepfather. The family was just in a mess. Like I said, I'll link Celeste videos about these because they show more than I do, a lot more. They also need to control the risque videos. Numerous times I've been on Whoknows. You don't have to be of a certain age to be on Whoknows, and I can. There's one particular person, she used to do a lot on YouTube. She doesn't do as much anymore. Not even going to say her name. She was on Whoknows, not worrying very much, twerking. If she hit so many likes, she'd give him a goal, and then once they hit it, she'd twerk. Now, I'm not bothered about people twerking, but if they're twerking in next to no clothes, and the people that are slightly unhinged, these are the type of people that will go out and record themselves or stream themselves doing shooting sprees. These people really do need a bit of help in the politest way possible. They are probably some of the worst criminals that I've ever known exist. And considering we've had some of the worst serial killers in this country, including the one with the highest kill count, that's saying a lot. And then there's also the issue of there's the dangers of not monitoring people's social media, specifically kids. Now, there are a large amount of story times on YouTube of people being catfished, of particularly kids, and they think they've been in a relationship with somebody for 3 years and then it turns out to be the best mate playing a joke. This is something that, like I say, I'm not 100% sure, but it might have happened with Nicole, I'm not sure. The videos that Celeste will go through will explain it more in depth than I will. But when you don't police your child's social media, you don't learn things like this. You don't learn if somebody's taking advantage of them. Another issue I'll bring up on this is the Austin Jones, where he was asking 14, 15-year-olds for videos of them twerking. Again, if their parents had monitored their streams, they would have known, or monitored their internet activity, they would have known that there was this issue. And then they would have dealt with it. But a lot of the times, particularly with teenagers, they think they know everything when they actually know nothing. Fraud happens everywhere, all the time. It's one of those things that you have to monitor your kids, because there is instances like this where people get pushed too far. Another one being Amanda Todd, where she was being blackmailed because somebody had a topless picture of her, and in the end she died. Now, a lot of that was also due to the fact that nobody was monitoring the social media and they didn't quite realise that how it was as bad as it was. Technology is moving a lot faster than our laws are, and we need to find a way of catching up. The laws and technology should be moving at the same pace, but they're not. Now, there are some laws that are due to come into place in this country, which is we haven't had our a referendum on them yet. Whether we're going to have a referendum on them or not, I don't know. But there's talk of of you having to go to the post office to register if you want to watch pornography, and register as being over 18, which is a bit of a ball ache. But like I said, we don't know if that's going to get put into place. There's other issues going on in America with net neutrality and stuff like that. We have to find a way of monitoring streams accurately, to prevent, on the lower scale, somebody accidentally flashing something or something like that, and then on the higher scale, somebody ending their life on stream or having their life ended on stream. The deep web is a completely different egg. It's a completely different ballgame, and it's a completely different issue. It does need sorting, because they've been streaming death a lot longer than we have on the normal web, but both need sorting. But because the normal web is the one that everybody uses, that's going to be the one where if we don't start being a little bit stricter with websites like YouNow, people are going to start doing a lot more stupid things on YouNow. And like I said, we need to find a way of controlling it, because otherwise... But no, to me, if you watch somebody die on a live stream, you're not responsible. But if you know that person, then you should have at least rung the police. If you knew that person, you knew where they were, and you watched it, you should have at least said something. rung the police, whatever. I would have done that if that had happened with somebody here and I saw it. I would have rung the police and said, look, this is the person, I think this is what address they're at, this is where it looks like they're at, you know, this is what they're doing. If you've got an email address, I'll email you the link over, type of thing. That you can do. Other people you can't. Like I say, if it was something local you can do it. If it's not local, then it's not really something you can do. So, like I say, that's this video. Tomorrow's video I think is Dylan's, and then Tuesday's is, I'll let you find that out on Tuesday. Wednesday is Chiron. Thursday is Scientology. I haven't decided for Friday or next weekend's videos yet. But I've got a funny feeling I'm going to be doing a 2-part video next weekend, if not more than 2 parts. Like I said, some events have happened over the weekend that kind of have an impact. So I shall see you tomorrow, although that'll be past me. I've already recorded that one. So stay safe, have fun, and I will see you tomorrow.